Hey everyone, welcome to another CAD vlog. There's a couple things I kind of wanted to talk to you about. I love doing comics about video games. I've been a gamer since I was a kid, summer vacations with my aunt's Atari 2600, and now I get to share video games with my kids. And it's a lot of fun for me to share my enjoyment of video games with you through my work. However, and some people have a hard time understanding this, video game comics are not the only thing that I want to do. That's where a series like the Starcaster Chronicles comes in. It lets me scratch the creative itch of telling a story that's completely within my control. It's not tied to a release date. I'm not relying on another industry to do something that I can write about. And being self-contained, I feel like it has a longer shelf life. The story will read much the same in 10 years as it does today. Unlike, for example, a Fortnite comic that I might do today, that 10 years from now, when nobody gives a shit about that game anymore, won't make any sense. But with all of that said, I do recognize that a series like the Starcaster Chronicles stands apart from the general theme of other content on my site. And furthermore, telling a 24-page story, one page at a time every other day, is not the most optimal situation. I'm always evaluating how I can streamline my process to put out as much content as I can, and in the most efficient way possible. Ultimately though, I'm just one person and there are a very limited number of hours in a day. So at this point, I feel like I've pretty much reached the threshold for the maximum amount of content and work that I can create in a given month. Which means from here on out, if I want to increase output in any way, the only real avenue to do that is with some help. Which brings me to the point of this video. Over the past few weeks, I've kind of been mulling over an idea that I wanted to pitch to you guys for feedback. And it involves hiring an artist to take over drawing the Starcaster Chronicles, with the goal of putting out more issues on a more regular basis. I didn't do a single issue of Starcaster in 2017. And as it stands, just wrapping up issue 6 now, I can't even wholly guarantee that I'd get to another issue this year in 2018. And that is a dismal release cadence for an ongoing series. I really enjoy writing the Starcaster Chronicles, and as such, I'm not overly concerned about whether or not it turns a profit, but I also can't go into the negative to produce it. So hiring an artist would need to take one of two paths. The most straightforward path would be kickstarting each issue. I set a goal that covers the art cost of a full 24-page issue, and then we get to work. Backers receive pages as we finish them, get to vote on the choices when they arise, etc. It's all self-contained, but then we need to keep running Kickstarter campaigns for each new issue. Alternatively, I could turn to Patreon. Aside from the subscription model that my current Patreon uses, Patreon also offers a per update model, wherein supporters pledge to pay a certain amount per update, up to a maximum number of updates per month. So for example, let's say that I set this Starcaster Patreon at $1 per update with a maximum of 2 updates per month. So you would know that if you pledged, the most you would pay in a month is $2. And then let's say, for the sake of argument, that it costs $150 per page for an artist, which is pretty much in the ballpark for comic work if you want, a good, reliable artist. If we reach 150 patrons, then each update consists of one page. One update, $150, one page. But if we reached 300 patrons at $1 a piece, then that's enough to pay for 2 pages. So then each update now consists of 2 pages. And the more supporters that we had, the more pages we could produce with each update, and the less each person's paying per page. If we had 600 people that enjoyed Starcaster enough to pay $1 to $2 a month, then we could be producing 4 to 8 pages per month, which is 1 issue every 3 months. Kickstarter is the cleaner, simpler, tackle 1 issue at a time approach, whereas Patreon would be a more steady stream of pages, and potentially even more pages per year if the fan base was large enough. Now, obviously, there are some pros and cons with this approach in general that we should examine. Con. Let's get the biggest one out of the way first. I'm taking something that's currently free on the site and putting it behind a paywall. That's not something I'm thrilled about in the slightest, especially since we're already well on our way with the story, and I'd be pulling it without any closure. Sure, the people that can shell out a couple of bucks might get more Starcaster, but those that chose not to would get none, and that sucks. But as I mentioned, I'm at the capacity for what I can do, so doing more Starcaster for me means I'm doing less of other things like analog and D-pad, gaming one-shots, etc. So it's the only way to fund the production of more content while being sure that I'm not digging a financial hole that I'll never at least break even on. So as much as I don't like it, I have to at least consider the option. Pro. As I mentioned earlier, this has the potential to mean a lot more Starcaster. The goal would be at least 1 to 2 issues a year, matching my current bare minimum, but ideally reaching 3 to 4 issues a year if the interest is there. Con. Without Starcaster being free to read, it may be difficult to draw in new readers to the series and maintain the level of support necessary to keep it going. Obviously, I can't say, pledge money to help me create this content and then turn around and give that content away for free on the website, but I'd have to figure out something to keep new readers coming in. Some sort of compromise. Pro. Moving Starcaster Chronicles to its own self-supporting system and giving up my responsibility as its artist would mean I'd be spending more of my time doing all of the other stuff on the site. More Ethan and Lucas, more one-shots, more console wars, etc. So ultimately, taking this path would mean an increase in production of all of my content, not just Starcaster. At any rate, this would be a pretty big change, and it's not one that I'm trying to rush into. So right now, we're just talking. I'd really like to hear your feedback and maybe kind of start to get an idea of what sort of fan base Starcaster really has, and then try to choose the best path forward from there. So I've got a poll to collect a little bit of data, and I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments section about whether or not you'd like to see Starcaster updated more often, whether it's something you'd support, or even if you would just rather it stay free and update once a year, as I've been doing. So I look forward to hearing from you, and let me know.